Jimmy, welcome to Football DNA. I'm co-founder of DNA and coach. So I'm going to answer a few questions that have been sent in from the DNA community around the world. So it's pretty seamless for me, to be honest, this one. I'd left Walsall as a player. I've been doing a little bit of coaching there anyway and taking my badges in the meantime. So fortunate enough to get the opportunity with Darren Ferguson, Peterborough. He offered me a job to come in as sort of a player coach role. I think it was more as a training goalkeeper. They needed a third choice, and to coach the goalkeepers there, it was Joe Day and Bobby Lejdzik at the time in the championship. So it was a great start for me. I learnt a lot in that short time. I was only there for the last couple of months of the season, but learnt a lot in that time. And like I said, and then I followed on from that season and was there for another 18 months after that with Darren, Gavin Strachan, Kevin Russell as well, and Gary Breen. So some great people there, and like I said, just working with these in close quarters every day really helped my career and set me off on the path nicely. And so it's a pretty seamless transaction really. Towards the end of, like I said, towards the end of my career, I knew that's what I wanted, the path I wanted to go down. And I was sort of studying more of the goalkeeper side of things, and studied some of the goalkeepers I worked with, like Gomez and Cudicini at Spurs, and obviously I took that with my ideas and built that into my coaching philosophy. And you know, you're always learning. I'm learning every day still now, but the first 6 months on the job, learning on the job basically was a great start for me. Unfortunately, you know, as a goalkeeper, that's a goalie life. Mistakes are inevitable. You know, you try and sort of iron them out in training, but things do happen in the game that you can't foresee, and it does that. So as much as you can coach and train towards making a perfect performance, doesn't always happen. Now, when the goalkeeper makes a mistake, I've had a few of these. Managers deal with it in different ways. Obviously, you get a few turn around and have a little scream at you from behind there, and then I sort of adapted. I think I went from like answering them back and talking back to them at the time, which weren't a great thing to do when the goalkeeper just made a mistake and they turn around going, "What is the goalkeeper doing, Jim?" And you go back, you're trying to explain his point of view at the side of the pitch. I learned quickly that was not the way forward. It was one of those, I think I adapted the saying, and I'm going to look at the video after, Gaffer, and I'll let you know on that, and we'll discuss it then. Let the situation diffuse, I think, was the ideal time. But you know, from a coach's point of view, you never want mistakes to happen, but like I say, they do. It's how you react to them as a goalkeeper. So I think if you instill into your goalkeepers, you know, things happen, just deal with it. You can't affect it at the time. Don't make it sort of doubly bad, for want of better words. Don't make it worse by, you know, thinking about that during the game. You've got to let that go straight out your head and concentrate on doing what you know's right for the rest of the game. Don't go chasing it, trying to make amends. Don't be coming for things when you shouldn't be. Just think, I've got to make up for this, and just play your normal game, get on with it, and we'll analyse it after the game and have a look at it. And you know, if you learn from it, sometimes mistakes are your best friend. Although they don't feel it at the time, you can learn from it and you can work towards eradicating them for the future. But you know, it was certainly from a coach's point of view, it was I learned over the first few months how to deal with it, and learned with it quickly as well, because just have any arguments, and you know what's there on the sidelines having a disagreement. So you work it together after, and you work with everyone and go forwards with it basically. So with the young GKs, goalkeeping is such a specific position, such a specialist position. It's funny, the basics and the outlines for me don't change from under 7 level up into the first team levels. They just get more detailed the higher up you go. You still have to have the same sort of principles, I think, as a kid, and as soon as you can get them in at a young age and instill them disciplines and the techniques in them at a really young age, they can flourish from that and you know, from a great base, then go and do their own stuff and, you know, express themselves from that as a goalkeeper basically. But it's always the same, no matter, I mean, we spoke about mistakes before, no matter what happens in the game, if something's not quite right, but you don't feel right in the game, go back to your basics, go back to what you know is right, do everything correct, and then you can gradually express yourself from that, and then you get yourself back in the game and make some saves. You know, coaching young goalkeepers was great for me. Like I said, I went into Peterborough early, and I'd never really coached young GKs before. It was always first team goalkeepers I'd worked with. at Peterborough they wanted me to do a little bit more of everything, which was great. I was more than happy to do. I was learn my trade. So I actually did the academies from under 7s right up to under 14s, and then the first team as well. So I do the academies at the night time and the first team in the day. And I realised then that, you know, things are pretty much similar throughout. You know, you need to have a good speed, you need to have a good balance, good set position, and good techniques for dealing with the actions that's needed, whether it be dealing with a cross or making a save. And you work towards that for all levels, really. Like I said, from under 7s up to the first team boys. And gradually as it goes on, it can be a little bit more detailed. But as a young GK, for me, I'm a great believer in they need to enjoy the game. Go and enjoy playing football, go and enjoy being a goalkeeper. Yeah, you enjoy that probably a little bit better if you're doing well. We enjoy it a lot more if you're doing well at that. So if you can instill in them a really good basics and good techniques, then like I say, they can go and enjoy the games from that and go and enjoy making saves and playing a great game of football. So it's a real tough one, because a lot of coaches look for different things in goalkeepers. For me, definitely you need to have you know, a natural eye for goalkeeping, natural hand to ball coordination. Basically, you have to love playing in goal. For me, like, you wouldn't have to play, you know your position. I actually think it's great now as well that if goalkeepers can play in the outfield positions as well and enjoy both sides of it and learn to play in different positions, because if you think from a young age, if you're just playing in goal, fantastic, you're going to learn all your basics, but to actually play as a right back for a little bit, you're going to know how, as a goalkeeper, the right back wants the ball. To play as a forward, you're going to know exactly what he's thinking, whether he's going to come short for a throw or he's going to come short to spin in behind, just things like that. You're going to have an appreciation for every position. So I think it's actually great for goalkeepers at a young age to play in each position. But if I'm looking specifically at the goalkeeper being natural ability with the ball holding, you know, catching the ball and all that, and a nice movement around the goal is something I'd first look at. And being honest, it don't actually change that much again from the first team. First thing I look at is good movement. I'm not one of them. Obviously, I was a smaller goalkeeper when I played, you know, 5'10" and a half. I don't look at height so much. Listen, if you've got a good big one, who's 6'3", 6'4", and can play with his feet and moves fantastic around the goal, brilliant, you're onto a winner. But if you've got a smaller goalkeeper who moves around the goal well, you know, I've got no problems with that. I think there's a place for both, especially in the modern game where you have to be good with your feet more and you're used as a focal point to start attacks. Yet, 1,000,000% you have to deal with your goalkeeping stuff, and that is, for me, will always be the main thing. But different goalkeepers can bring different things. I would look for, if I'm looking for goalkeepers, Mick Kearns, who was my sort of mentor at Walsall for 10, 12 years, he stuck with me all the time. I first went into Walsall and his words were, I don't care what you do, what you look like, as long as you keep the ball out of the net. And that's basically it as a goalkeeper. So I would look at how they can keep the ball out of the net. You can coach things from around that. You can coach a little bit of movement, positioning in the goal. You can analyse all things like that. You can work on the speed, work on the power, work on the handling to a point. But, you know, it's such an art to have that ability to keep the ball out of the net. So that, I mean, they're the sort of things I would look at, definitely, like you say, in a kid, and you can polish it from that. When you get that little bit older, you know, you would hope that the basics and the techniques are embedded in them, because it's hard to change, you know, something massively. You can tweak it, you can work with it, but you can't change something that's really, you know, embedded in you, a total turnaround. So if they've got that technique, you're going to struggle to, you know, from 17, 18 onwards. If they've got that from a young age, it's really hard to eradicate that if you need to turn it around and change it. So hopefully, sort of getting to the age where, you know, progressing to academies and first teams, you've got a good technique, you've got a good basic abilities, and you can polish it from there, really. But if you can move around the goal and keep the ball out of the net well, you've got a good eye to ball and a good timing. That sort of things you can work with. Yeah, so for me, confidence is one of the main factors and attributes in a goalkeeper at any ages. You know, if you have to be confident in your own ability, you have to have a certain, I call it an arrogance. You know, I don't want to call it arrogance, it's, you know, might get the wrong word, but it is a certain arrogance on the pitch, because although you're in a team environment, at the end of the day, a goalkeeper, you're on your own. basically. So you need that. You need to be strong-willed, single-minded. You need to be able to deal with criticism well. So it is one of those, you have to have that inbuilt in you. But as a coach, for me as well, you can sort of, and I think, being honest, in first team environment, that's one of the main things to work on. The goalkeepers at the level you're working, if you're working in the championship, you know, in the league, if you're working in league football especially, these goalkeepers are good goalkeepers, no doubt about that. You don't get to that level if you're just an okay goalie. You have to be a good goalie to get to that level. So a lot of the goalkeepers I've worked with over the years, you look at Lincoln, or where I worked in Division 2 in the National League, and you've obviously been in the Prem and the Championship. There's not a load difference between the goalkeepers. I would say the main thing is in between up there. It's one of those, and so a massive part of your job as a coach is bringing out the best of their ability week in, week out, and trying to be able to help them to flourish. So it's about the environment you create. For me, you need to create a really good, solid working environment. So for me, hard work is key to everything. But you need to be working on the correct stuff. It has to be, I mean, the biggest saying for me would be, you know, practice makes perfect. It doesn't. Practice makes permanent. So whatever you practice is ingrained into your game, is making permanent. So you need to make sure you're teaching the goalkeepers the right stuff, for me as well, which obviously every coach wants to do that. So you continually question yourself as a coach: am I doing the right thing for him? Is he looking good? Is he improving? So as a coach, you're improving yourself. So if you've got that environment where you're continually improving yourself, and you want to improve every goalkeeper on the training field you're working with, make them the best they can be, then that's a great working environment to be at. And I think, you know, goalkeepers in that environment can flourish and grow and become and bring out the best in what they can bring, sort of thing. So for a confidence sort of thing, if a goalkeeper's having a bad time, for me, I would strip everything back to basics. I'll go back to basics. I'd analyse a few things. I wouldn't over-analyse it, because then the player's head, the goalkeeper's head could be all over the place. It'd be a case of drip feeding the analyst, the analysing side of things. You know, just saying, look at maybe this, look at your position a little bit, look at your shape before you make the save, then look at the techniques a little bit. So if you've got the tools to analyse, fantastic, use them. If not, go back to basics on a training field, like I said. Start hands, and then it's down to sheer hard work. And I think you only can improve confidence on the pitch through the training field. So if you're working really hard and getting into the levels that they know they can get to in training, if they can take that into a game, it's going to turn for them. If they're a good goalkeeper, it will turn for them. And like I said, you can keep the confidence high as possible. You know, come back to the training ground after the game, talk about what's just happened, go through little bits what you think, ask the goalkeeper how he's feeling. Again, that's that working environment and your relationship with the goalkeeper. So important, and that's why, you know, goalkeeping coach is so important. With the outfield coach is so important to the outfield team. But goalkeeping coach is so important. You're more or less working one-on-one with each goalkeeper you work with. So you need to build that relationship and that environment that you know will help them thrive. And you can go back to basics and, like I said, and work really hard at everything you believe in. And if the goalkeeper buys into that as well, and you believe in what you're working to, you'll go together and you'll keep reaching a higher level. I mean, I had it at Ipswich just with Big Bart, and you know, he had a few things happen in the summer, and he's been player of the year for the last 3 years. And when I come to the club, he was, you know, for whatever reason, he was just a little bit low on confidence. He'd played, he'd been took out. And there's a really good goalkeeper there, like I said. So I basically used what I've just said there, and went back on the training field, analyse a few things. We've said, listen, you're a top goalkeeper. Look at the good stuff you've done over the years. Look at the good stuff you've done this season. All right, there's been a couple of mistakes in there. We've got to work to get them gone. That will gradually come, and we'll go from there. And I think hopefully now you're seeing rewards, and you're seeing a confident goalkeeper. He's enjoying the environment he's working in. As are all the goalkeepers there. That's one thing I strive to achieve. And from that, he's gone on. He's getting back to his best. So hopefully we can do that, and we'll keep improving. And I think the bottom line is you can help each other to improve. You can improve as a coach by working with the players and challenging what you think every day. And I know you can, if the environment's right and the relationship's right and the work you're doing is right, then I know the confidence of the goalkeeper will improve and the performance of the goalkeepers will improve. Okay, so I mean, fantastic topic. I mean, I'd go as far as say, you know, it's one of the biggest sort of buzz things in the game at the minute for a goalkeeper is distribution and playing out from the back. I mean, I think it's gradually evolved, and like I said, goalkeepers are such a focal point of starting attacks now. It's a massive thing to work on in training as well. It's really hard without going through it in training to say, do this to improve your kicking. You know, you've got all your coaching points. What I would say is, if you look at on the website, look on footballdna.co.uk on the website, we've got there's a range of topics on there that will and practices that you can work with your goalkeepers that will improve your kicking, and we break it down to your foot placements, to how you kick through the ball, your shoulder positions when you're kicking through, your head nice and still, and your follow throughs, and all the detailed coaching points you need, which is really hard to talk about, but great, you know, to visualise and look at. And if you have got the tools, there's nothing better than actually videoing the goalkeeper. You know, I mean, you've got, especially with the iPhones and the phones and the iPads and everything that you've got nowadays on, you've got to hand. If you just video the goalkeeper doing it and he can look back, I found it a massive tool to help the goalkeepers just by looking back. Because it's okay as a coach, you're saying something and you might say, yeah, your body shape was just out the way, your shoulder was turned around, that's why you've hooked it a little bit, you've not quite followed through, your toe was hooked up a little bit, that's why it's spooned back. If they actually see it, you can say that and you go, let me show you, and they look at that and they can actually see you talking sense and what you're saying is correct. They're more likely to think, okay, I can put that into it. You know, great words. You know, if you tell them, they might listen. If you show them, they might learn. If you actually involve them in the session and in there, and that involves showing them on that and doing it in the sessions and going back and practicing it and showing them when they do it well, they'll definitely learn from that. They'll definitely take it more on board. So it's a massive tool to it, and most people have got their phones at hand now, which they can just slip a video on and show the goalkeeper back. And it's brilliant. And like I say, if you want to get the basics, you want to know you're coaching the goalkeepers right, we've got different goalkeepers, coaches on the website that you can look at, you can learn, you think, well, I could use that for my goalkeepers, that's what he needs or she needs, whether it be short passes to longer passes to the sideline, the kicks that everyone loves nowadays. So we've got all that on Football DNA. If you want to have a look at that, that'd be one great way you can take that and adapt it to how you want your goalkeepers to work and show them. But like I say, you know, it's a great tool to have video and them showing them back. Okay, so again, I mean, for me, gone are the days when, I mean, you still have the days where you can do it, and it's nice to get away and just have a goalkeeping session where you're making saves and diving around, and you can free your mind in those sessions sort of things and not think too much about it. And you might need one of them, especially if you're training full time or it's quite intense part-time, you might need a session a week where you do that and just get away from the team. But nowadays it's gone where you go away for 20 minutes and you come back and you'll be involved in 5-a-sides or 11-a-sides in the game, and then that'll be finished. Because of the evolving role of the goalkeeper, which is fantastic, I think, for the goalkeeper as well, you know, and you see more and more of it, you know, with the Edisons and Allisons and all that. There's so many good goalkeepers that are doing it at the top level now. It can only inspire sort of younger goalkeepers to want to be like them as well, and it's great. So I think, again, if you go on the website Football DNA, we have got so many practices and drills on there that integrates the goalkeeper into the outfield practice. So if you're an outfield coach that not quite sure how to do it, you can look at that and get some ideas of how you want your goalkeeper to play in a team. And this, like I said, again, this goes from short practices which get your feet nice and quick and you get to paint your pictures early as a goalkeeper. I think it's great for the outfield players to work with the goalkeeper, because then they sort of get to know their abilities and where to pass it to them, you know, to right foot, left foot, as basic as that, you know, and it helps an outfield player, because there's nothing worse trying to play out from the back for a goalkeeper, especially if the outfield player's got they wouldn't pass a ball to a midfielder, say. A defender wouldn't pass the ball to a midfielder, say, without care and attention, thinking about the weight of the pass, thinking about his next pass possibly. Sometimes in the past, and it still happens nowadays, a defender possibly wouldn't think as much about going back to the goalkeeper. You just go back to the goalkeeper and let him deal with it. But that don't work. That doesn't work for me. It needs to be a good pass back. The goalkeeper then go first time. If that's what the defender wants him to do, he might wrap it in so he can have a good touch while he makes the angle to get it back on his second touch. You know, so I think working together in these practices with the outfield players he's playing with on his match day or her match day, it's I think it's paramount importance, to be honest. And at the end of the session, I mean, I always work on the 4 stages for me. You know, you do a warm-up drill where you include your feet and your hands and your distribution in that, and then you progress that to. So if you're doing working on distribution, you do it unopposed. Just get your range of passes in. Find the short pass, find the long pass. You know, like I said, they're all on the website, so you can have a look at them. It's a lot better than me explaining it. You can go and sit down, have a look, see which ideas you like, see which ones you want to adapt and create your own from it. Because that's the whole idea of the website. So it'd be great to have a look on that for everyone and to use that. But for me, then that's the second phase is unopposed. Then the third phase, you can start making decisions for the goalkeeper. You know, maybe as simple as one that side and one that side, outfield players. The ball passes to the goal, coming back to the goalkeeper. One of them holds a bib up or a colour, whatever you've got, or puts their arm up, and the goalkeeper has to pass to that as it's coming back. So they're painting their pictures as the ball's coming back. You can even paint your pictures before, so before the pass is made, one will put their hand up, and you can wrap it around the corner to them, or pass it to whoever's on the end up. You know, just simple things like that, which helps the goalkeeper paint his pictures and makes decisions, but under not a load of pressure to get it right. And then the fourth phase comes in, what we spoke about with the outfield players, which you can work with them, and that is really when you're under a bit of pressure to find the pass. And it's great, because if you don't find the pass in the game, or it just goes a little bit wrong, or it gets intercepted from good play from the opposition, and they read the pass, or something goes wrong, a bad touch from the outfield players, they're breaking on your goal, and you've got to recover it, and you've got to make a save. So there's ways of, like I said, integrating with the team, and that is the final bit for me. But like I say, I'd always go back to the basics every time. I go back and just do short passes, go to the long passes, progress it to a bit more pressure on it, progress it to decision making, and then every opportunity you get, work with the team is of such importance for me. Cool. I mean, I always say when that's something along these lines, you know, I've been so fortunate as a player and as a coach. You know, I've had some of the best experiences possible. It's been amazing, a great career, and I loved every minute of it, I'll be honest. I loved every game I played, every second. I loved being out in front of the fans, I loved it. You know, I started at Notts County. I had a great upbringing there. Never played for Notts County, which was probably a little regret. And I think if I pushed on the football side, I could have, but it was a kick up the backside I needed at the time, and I ended up getting a bit of luck signing for Walsall. I went there on trial and I signed at Walsall, and you know, the 10 years that followed that was incredible, and there were so many highs there. You know, we had playoff finals, league promotions, you know, great cup runs. It was just an amazing time, and I think, I mean, we kept Walsall in the championship for, you know, an unprecedented 4 years, and that was an amazing time. So that was incredible. So that's just the whole experience of that, and like the glorious bits from that you share with the fans. I mean, you can't get rid of these memories. You know, they're with you for life. I mean, I was fortunate enough. I was happy at Walsall, and then obviously then I went to sort of another level and lucky enough to sign West Ham, and Alan Pardew took me to West Ham, and that was an amazing time. I mean, that was an extension of Walsall, really, because I loved Walsall, loved the fans, had a real rapport, and the club was excellent, a real family club. Went to West Ham, it was Walsall on a bigger level. You know, it was an amazing club, and sort of fell in love with the club straight away there. And you know, I'm fortunate enough to experience that there was incredible. I mean, the first season we won the playoff final, and then we stayed and got us back into the Premier League, which was incredible. That was my first season there. Fortunately, I got injured under with about a minute to go in that final, funny enough, and it took me a while to get back. But then I managed to make the Prem debut with them, which is a real highlight for me. I always wanted to play in the Prem. Anyone that asked, I always told them I could play in the Prem. Just needed the chance to do it, and you know, fortunately, I managed to make that a a club I fell in love with at West Ham, and you know, that was an amazing time. And that year we remember the cup final. Unfortunately, we lost in the cup final, and Gerrard scored that screamer past Big Shaka as I was on bench for that one. And that's one other regret is I would have loved to win in goal just to see if I could prove myself right that I would have saved that one. But just to get to that, and the experience and the atmosphere around the club at that time was incredible. And then obviously the year after, it was a bit of a tough year, but we managed to stay up. I don't remember Tevez for the last 8 or 9 games, but the lads we had in the change room there was incredible. We had such a tight-knit bunch.